Yes, a beautiful morning, a beautiful Thursday, a wet one for that matter. And we want to welcome you to Newspaper Review from here, Ifako Radio, to the world this morning. I am yours truly, Olanireti.
I am Alani David. Good morning.
Yeah, I'll be getting started with the Punch newspaper. And the headline here says NNPCL secures 318 billion naira to fund new oil exploration. NNPCL secures 318 billion naira to fund new oil exploration. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has received 318.05 billion naira between January and August 2025 for frontier oil exploration. Findings by the Punch newspaper have shown. This is according to document from the September 2025 Federation account allocation committee meeting obtained by the Punch. The deductions represent 30% of production sharing contract profits, which are automatically set aside each month for exploration in inland basins. The Petroleum Industry Act 2021 created a Frontier Exploration Fund, which mandates that 30% of profit from NNPC's production sharing contract be channeled into oil search across underexplored basins, including Anambra, Bida, Dahomey, Sokoto, Chad, and Benue. Regulations also require the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission to manage the fund through an escrow account and issue an annual frontier basin exploration and development plan. So the headline again says NNPCL secures 318 billion naira to fund new oil exploration, and that is a good one. And that money was accrued between the month of January to August. We only want to hope that it will be well expended. There will be justification for the purpose it has been secured for, and we won't hear tales by moonlight later in the day. There won't be stories that touch.
Well, I believe it's a good one, just like you rightly said. We pray that the money is judiciously used for what is meant to be. But the question at the back of my heart is this morning is that NLPC PLC Limited, what is the way forward, most especially in the downstream sector of the oil, because we believe that NLPC should be the one that should be in competition or competitive with that of Dangote refinery. So we know that many more other little refineries are coming up soon in the country, but NNPC should just try to take its course, take the place where they ought to be in the oil sector market. I believe the GDM or the MD or the CEO of NNPC is listening to us on the back of radio, because Nigeria really hope to see them in this competitive market, most especially at the downstream sector.
Yes, NMPC need to step up their game. A lot of experts have spoken in the recent past, giving clues and suggestions on how to make the best use of it. And I think we only need somebody that is very patriotic on that seat so that we can get the best results.
Because the NNPC refinery just need to work, because I know that billions of dollars have been spent in bringing out.
And it at all we've not gotten a result.
So, which is the Warri refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery, and the KDCT refinery could do that. So they need to also work on that. So it must just work. It must just work, because those money, the money invested in bringing those NNPC back, the refinery back, not supposed to be something that goes really to the team here. So Nigeria really need answers on this.
Yes, I hope they do the needful as soon as possible. Just like I said earlier, we need them to be more patriotic and not only being self-centered. Because a lot of people seems to be going to that office for personal interest and not the interest of the nation.
That's true. All right, that will take me to the Nation newspaper. I have a headline here: 5 injured. Is a sad one here on the pages of the Nation newspaper. 5 injured as building under construction collapse in Lagos. Not again. 5 construction workers sustained injuries in the early hour of Thursday when a partially completed 2-story building collapsed at number 5 Odupe Ola Street, Onipetes Estate, Mango, Lagos. The Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service said it received a distress call at 5:39 a.m. and arrived at the scene at 6:24 a.m. with units from Ikeja and Agege Fire Station. According to the agency, the affected structure was originally a bungalow before a new owner began converting it into a two-story building. So I think LAPSCA so far, even the Ministry of Physical Planning, uh, they were moving on around Lagos like 2-3 days ago because I saw them in Maryland. I even saw them in Agege. So to sanitize the citizen, the negotiation about building project and contacting, go through the right channel, which is the physical planning and the Ministry of Physical Planning, EGIS, and of course the LAPSCA at GRA. And not only that, that also that they must patronize the real the professionals on the field of construction, be it as an architect, civil, structural, or project management in construction, managers in construction, that they need to they need to bring the professional on board. But now in this case, we saw that is a different one. Initially, that the building is that of bungalow. So I think the landlord or the landlady or the property owner decide to take it up because to generate revenue. And look at it now, over 5 lives are gone. So I think it's high time that negotiations and house owner, property owner, estate developer need to follow the proper channel. And also, whatever approval that has been given to them, NASCAR should go bomber to bomber and monitor that the approved project, approved plan, approved draft and plan being given to them is being followed accordingly. What do you think, Sheldon?
Yes, in the recent past, we've been recording too many disasters in Lagos. Just last week, there was another building collapse. That was immediately after the Ifako at UBA within the Lagos district. And we all have a role to play. For anybody that is putting up a building or setting any erection, they should do it within the confine of regulated authorities. And maybe this building that the owner chose to convert, the foundation cannot even carry what they decide to put on it.
Definitely.
That is where the regulated authorities also need to be assertive as well. Sometimes I want to, yes, I'll give it to them, they are doing a good job, but that doesn't mean they are all diligent. I haven't said they are not doing well, but some of them still take kickbacks. They need to watch it. I see no reason why a building that is meant to be a bungalow will overnight be converted to a two-story building. There's this Yoruba saying, popular saying that in the long run, that has led to loss of lives, loss of properties, and even lives cannot be recovered if you insure the property. What about the lives that has been lost? So we all have a role to play. But those that want to maximize whatever income they're getting when it has to do with buildings, because accommodation now in Lagos is serious money. That may be one of the reasons why the building decided to do that. But we should be mindful of the risk that is involved, and the agencies and the regulatory authorities should also be more assertive.
Yes, then I would like to add this to it that just like Sheldon has said, it's not only the duty of the government, but also individual, most especially the CDAs and the CDCs need to have a major role to play because it is your community, it is your community. So if you see someone converting the bungalow to a two-story building, please be a whistleblower to LAPSCA and the physical planning. So in order to avert lost life and properties. So I think because personally I saw the permanent secretary of physical planning announcing this over and over, trying to make the question see the reason why they must follow the due process. So I think for property and property owner developers, we should not put money or profit ahead of life. because life is priceless. You cannot just be building and people will be by dying because of now the property owner, and you know the Lagos State law. The property that belongs to the state. That land belongs to the state.
That's the sanction. That's the sanction.
So, and despite that, they may also be found wanting, that some of them may end up being in jail as a result of that. And also, just like what you said, that some of these officials too that get kickbacks, please, for the officials, please value life more than what you want to gain.
And for those that are even putting up construction, the experts there, they should make sure they get the appropriate materials. The appropriate materials, not substandard goods. They need to also work on that. Even for new buildings.
And renovated buildings.
Exactly.
And even in renovated buildings, Lagos State allowed us to come and get approval before you renovate. Let us follow the due process so that it's for your own good and it's for the good of your community, our community, and it's the good of Lagos and Nigeria. So let us.
All right, proceeding with the Punch newspaper, the headline here says motorists stranded as flood overruns Lagos communities. Motorists stranded as flood overruns the Lagos community. That is on the page of the Punch newspaper, and there is pictorial graphics there. A lot of vehicles are seen in serious flood, tricycle, cars, and commercial vehicles. Vehicular and business activities were paralyzed across parts of Lagos State on Wednesday, that was yesterday, after hours of heavy downpour triggered flash floods in several communities in the state. Punch Metro observed that the downpour wreaked havoc in flood-prone areas across the state, which included Maryland, Lekki, Oba, and Ikorodu. This is as residents and business owners lamented how their homes and their shops were overrun by the flood. Similarly, multiple videos seen across social media platforms by our correspondents show residents wading through their flooded neighborhoods, while motorists were also seen moving at a slow pace on flooded roads. And that is flood taking over some very important parts of Lagos. Our own dearest Ogba here was submerged, Maryland and other areas. One, this thing is a little to the right and a bit to the left. The government has been shouting, has been talking to the community and residents to make use of a proper disposable medium and not dispose their refuse through the floor when it is raining. A lot of people used to do that, and the Lagos State government has been clamoring that we should desist from these bad acts. Things like that can lead to a blockage of the drainage, and when the drainage system is overrun, automatically it will lead to the main road. That will lead to flood, and by so doing, some buildings can even be submerged. Gradually, it will escalate beyond what we expect. And at the same time, there is nothing stopping the local government and the state government from also desilting all these drainage systems intermittently. It matters so as to save lives and properties as well. While the government is playing their part, the residents should also play their part. And we also have a lot of areas that are without drainage system. And that is a serious minus factor. As we speak in Lagos, there are areas we'll go to. You see nice buildings, wonderfully erected, and they don't have drainage. Government should also do something in this regard so as to continue to save and protect lives and properties.
Yes, I love your analysis, Shepherd. That's a very interesting one because I want to talk about the area of the government and that government also have a major role to play, most especially in the road constructions. Wherever there's road constructions, in the 20 local government and 37 LCD, be it the state government project or the local government project, they should make way for drainage. So because it's not only about asphalt, drainage is the key part.
That's the most important.
System, and not just constructing drainage that will not evict wastewater. No, you must do the standard drainage. wastewater, so that to go through the proper channel to wherever place that is being diverted to. Now, back is like we're still going back to the community, which is the CDA and the CDC, and individual habiting, which Shegun have analyzed to us on this. So we just need to have proper sewage, packing our sewage, because I noticed that some people, once it's raining, they just carry their dead and pour. And definitely, water will always have its way. So where it ought to go, so it will be blocked, and what happened?
It will escape through another medium.
So at the end of the day, your side may be safe, but it causes damage.
Serious havoc and wreck to other areas.
We need to do, and in fact, I think they ought to be. I think Loma has been doing very wonderfully in that area, and of course, the ministry is the ministry now of water, water something under Ministry of Environment. I visited all the drainages. I could see few on the island, and I saw on the mainland in Nigeria and Keja. I was able to see that, and just appeal to the Ministry of Environment under the Office of Water or Drainage Services or something like that. So that they will suffer immediately. They dismiss, let them pack it off the road, because if they
that's one of that important thing.
If they did not pack it off the road, what happened?
We still find its way back to the drainage.
So, and that will cause wastage of time. It will cause wastage of taxpayers' money, which is not too good. So let them provide an avenue to just pack it off to appropriate place. I think then another one that I would like to say is that, because yesterday I had an experience. Yesterday I was there for yesterday. I want to go to the island. Do you know, I spent 4 hours in traffic because of water. Water cover, and I didn't even go with an guy. I went with the new car.
And even on the island, the rates at which floods take over the major road is
kudos to the Commissioner for Environment there, because I can say that recently now it's been going, and you know that one of his core duties to demolish duty.
We need to see results.
So I think there's been part of the Kate area has been working seriously, and I can talk about some estate here and there. So, which if they did not demolish it, they come in together and discuss. They give them, okay, this is alternative. You need to get the setback. So about the water, our water will be just protected, because the way developers are going to sand fill all this water,
that is crazy. They will erect building where we should have a drainage system. That has been so.
And even not only the drainage system. And you know what? I don't know what. I'm sorry, I don't know the English word for Osa. So part of the Osa water that go to the Osa lagoon. So lagoon, what they do is that they block it and make it turn into drainage system.
That's crazy.
And when it now rains, the entire estate will be flooded. And when you now see the man in action, the Honorable Commissioner for Environment in action demolition now, people will start criticizing him on the social media. What is it supposed to be? No, he's doing his job. So developers, please take it easy. You are more of profit oriented than saving lives and property. So we need to change this narrative, and we need to
I think the Lagos State government recently took up some realtors, not quite long, where they placed an embargo on the construction they are having, and they gave ultimatum. In the long run, they reach a compromise, and they agree that you can do this, you can do that. Whenever they have a the meeting of minds, every party should make sure they do what is needful, so that there won't be disaster in Lagos anymore.
So the Vanguard newspaper, I have this headline, says healthcare crisis. What government can do to stop mass migration of doctors, MMA, NARD, and AMLSN, others. The Nigeria Association of Resident Doctors, the Nigeria Medical Association, Nigeria Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists of Nigeria, among others, yesterday raised alarm over increasing migration of medical professionals abroad, warning that the development popularly known as Japa syndrome is putting too much pressure on the healthcare system. to rescue the country from the syndrome, which has led to near collapse of the country healthcare system. The professional bodies also chartered a way for the government. I think this is a good thing. This is a good news because we know that this Japa syndrome has taken over our people. Because some time ago, I think we discussed on this on the Ifako radio that why our medical professionals are just after acquiring the cheapest education here, what they do is that they migrate to Japan.
We may call it cheapest education, but despite all odds, after the education, they also want to survive.
Agreed.
There must be an enabling environment on the part of the government. You see, we say health is wealth. And for people that are taking care of those that are sick, health carers, they also need to be taken care of.
And again, so a lot of them are talking about brain drain because the equipment and the facilities are not in place. And a lot of them also have been talking about the short pay compared to their counterparts in the Western world.
Seriously.
And of course, nobody will see where there's a better life, better living, and more comfortable living, where there are benefits.
And we don't want to explore.
We don't want to explore.
There's no amount of beseeching or admonishment we can do to somebody that wants to go and survive. Will you tell that person, don't go and survive? All we need to do is to make Nigeria an enabling environment for them to discharge their duties, to also survive. Now, the government needs to up their game, most especially as it concerns the health sector. And they need to increase their package. They need most of the government or public officials, when they go sick, what do they
fly
do?
abroad
That is it.
with their family.
That is it.
For medical.
That is
Even
it.
it happens at the presidency.
And so they should take care of
But I thought there was a law in this part of the country that once you're a public officer that you must send your kids, your words to public school here in Nigeria, and you must attend, you must go to the medical center. I think that was right that the National Medical Center was in Abuja.
Has that law been effective? Has it been implemented? Has there been a sanction to that?
Yeah, there should be a sanction. So I think that we know that the People's House, which is the National Assembly, should look into this.
All animals are equal, but some are more equal than the others. So this is Nigeria.
Oh, you remember that book? You remember?
That's Animal Farm.
Yeah, Animal Farm. Well, that's true. But I think we need to take that concept away from our mind. I think it's high time that we must make things work in this country because Nigeria has been seen as the highest set of people that export medical personnel, either as a lab or a dentist, physician, whatever it is. They are the highest. And even people that are not even into medical, profession. But there's one thing that they call it CS, what do you call it now? People that look after the disabled abroad and something like that.
Social service.
So social workers now is also increasing because they are also to the paramedicals to some extent. So I think the government need to sit down all across board at the federal, at the state, and at the local government. They need to come together and fine-tune a way because medical is very, very essential, just as education.
The government need to declare an emergency in the health sector. They sincerely need to do that so as to change the face of that sector entirely. We want to continue to have healthy people in this country. Yes, I'll be proceeding with the Punch newspaper, and this is a political story. And the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is speaking once again. And what is he saying this time? He says, "I'll protect Yoruba's interest if elected president. I'll protect Yoruba's interest if elected president." Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has pledged that the interest of the Yoruba will occupy a topmost place in his administration policies if elected president in 2027. He described as unfounded the narrative of fear that his presidency, if elected, might lead to Hausa Fulani domination over Yoruba or other ethnic groups. "The entire Yoruba stock is my larger extended family and in-laws," Atiku stated in a statement on Thursday issued in Abuja by his media consultant, Kola Johnson. The ex-vice president stressed that his marital and personal ties to the Yoruba made such fears baseless. So the former vice president Atiku Abubakar is saying, Yorubas, be at peace. If you elect me as president, I will take care of you. And I believe that this is a reaction to an allegation that has been made. You know, Atiku is a Fulani man, and there's this fear.
And got married to a Yoruba lady.
That the Fulanis tend to be domineering in nature. And when you look at the system of government and the record so far, when they are the ends of affair, it is assumed to be anyway. But he is saying, Yoruba people, be at peace. You are my in-laws. I will prioritize you as well as the other ethnic groups.
I think for me, I have some reservation with that statement by the former vice president of Atiku Abubakar. Because it is not only about Yoruba, this is about Nigeria. You're coming to, you have an intention to govern Nigeria. So we should not regionalize it, and we should not tribalize it. Let us be concrete in our talks and our actions to Nigeria, because it's a Nigerian affair, irrespective of where you hail from, or your religion, or belief, or association. So it needs to come out to Nigeria, not a section. I know. I think
the only reason why Yoruba is being pronounced loudly here. Yes, in this story we have it that over Yoruba or other ethnic groups. Why Yoruba is the subject here is because one,
the present president
is the Yoruba man, and they both
so why was the such pronunciation was not made in 2015?
Yeah, I think
2019.
I think an assumption came up recently that if Paraventure assumed that office, he would want to.
It's my personal opinion. So, my personal opinion, this act of desperation to attain office. So, I think we should be more proactive and disciplined in our statement across the board. So, the vice president, you've been there all along. I've known you in the political setting of Nigeria since 1992. And I think 1992 to date will be like how many years ago? That should be over 40. That should be, am I right?
No,
that should be 30, over 32, 33 years ago. So you've been at the center point. In fact, you've been playing national politics, not regional politics. So, and if you've been there, so I think such statement ought not to come from you. So I think you should be more tactical in your statement in order to be able to move the Nigerian mind, the Nigerian citizenry to your side. So that will also move me. I'm moving to the Nation newspaper as well, still there on the Nation newspaper. I have a Nigerian offer solution to debt crisis in developing economies. Nigeria offers solution to debt crisis in developing economies, says Vice President Shettima. Nigeria has canvassed solution to the debt crisis in developing economy and reordering of the world order to enable them access trade opportunities. This was the position of the Nigerian government as read in a statement in the early hours of today, the second day of 80th United Nations General Assembly. The session are being held at the United Nations headquarters in New York, in the US. The statement was read by Vice President Kashim Shettima for the second year running on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president called for sovereign debt relief to developing countries as they record significant progress in their growth journey. So the Vice President has spoken the mind of Mr. President, but I have some questions to ask the Vice President. The Vice President, the money that the developing nations have collected from the Western world or from the World Bank or African Development Bank, etc. So, are the money judicially used for the purpose which they are assigned for? And if yes, so to what extent are those projects been able to have positive impact to Nigeria and, of course, and revenue, and we're also generating the revenue back because we observe that every year in, year out, the developing nations keep borrowing from the big wings, which are the Western world, the G5, the G7, and of course the World Bank and the African Development Bank. So at this money now, so are we generating, because we observe that the mortgage, a lot of countries have been mortgaged due to this. I think there was a particular year that one African country airport, port authority, their port authority and the airport have been taken over by Chinese because of the level of the money that they borrowed and they were unable to pay. Now we are begging for, we are appealing to the world for debt relief. I think we also had that opportunity when President Olusegun Obasanjo was in government, the Paris Club debt relief, which some of our debt were being cancelled. And I think the Minister for Finance at that time is Dr. Okojo Ngozi Iweala. So, and it was so positive, and we believe that it's going to be a relief for Nigeria. But afterward, we've seen that we keep borrowing year in, year out. So those particular projects, those money have been allocated for. Because if I want to look at it, we believe that some of those projects should have been completed in 100%. We have the Sukong project or road project. We have the rail project money that they borrow. We have so many that they've used those money for. I'm talking about Nigeria now. So now, when those money, because if we borrow for a road project and we borrow for the rail system, we believe that they have economic value back to the country and where we'll be able to pay our debt. So is it that we are unable to pay those debt, or those money were not judicial, or those money were installed other people's back, or those money were part of the money they were taking away during the last dispensation in 2015?
I hope you get answers to all these questions. He who pays the piper dictates the tunes, and that is what our government are failing to realize. It is not a good thing to be at the mercy of the Western world at all times. May we not turn to beggars. If we are asking for debt relief every now and then, the money we are getting from them, the debt we are incurring at all times, just as you've said, what have we done with it? Why won't Chinese take over the port authority of a particular nation? When we continue to subject ourselves and lower our standard, seeing them as the super lords, our governments need to wake up. We must be able to do with whatever we have. When we utilize them judiciously, gradually we'll get there.
Because if we look so far, because Africa, because I was watching a lot of news recently on social media, and I checked some of the natural resources that were deposited in the developing nations. And we are talking about developing nations.
Are we tapping into them?
So we are talking about developing nations. I want to land somewhere, Shegun. Africa has a major role, has the highest percentage where those natural resources are deposited. Now, those natural resources, okay, for example, cocoa. We have cocoa. Yeah, that we have a cocoa farm in Nigeria, but I think currently Ghana has the highest at the moment. Now, do you know that the Milo? So yes, the Milo now, one of these beverages, I've forgotten, in Switzerland, not Swaziland in Africa, in Switzerland. The MD of that particular company, the group MD of that particular company in that country, never saw the seed of cocoa. For the first time I saw one, I said, is this the cocoa? And now they produce they take it from our farmers there
and sell it back to us.
And this man never saw a seed of cocoa for the first time. The day he saw, he said, oh, is this the cocoa? And I think it's Nestle. I think Nestle is the owner of Milo, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's Nestle. So I was watching that video. I was, in fact, I'm not happy. And now, talk less of, we have the gold, we have the iron, we have the oil, we have the diamond, we have every other thing, natural resources, and over 93.2% of natural resources are deposited in this developing nation. So why haven't we tapped into it that we now can be refining the states in on our shore and let the Western world be coming to buy from us.
Anyway, the government of this country need to do the needful. Let's see how we can generate money internally and utilize it judiciously. Whatever we have must be properly appropriated. We need not at all times be borrowing so that we won't continue to be at their mercy. When we continue to be at their mercy, they dictate how we operate and how we survive. Some Nigerians will say, some even accuse the government some years back that they've sold the whole of this nation. That one day we'll just wake up and they'll just change your name from David to either
John Liu.
So whatever. And it's crazy. So we need to allay such fear so that we can have peace in the country. Moving on with the Punch newspaper. The headline says Ibas meets Tinubu EFCC chair in Asoro. Ibas meets Tinubu EFCC chair in Asoro. The immediate past River State Administrator Vice Admiral Ifako Ibas retired was on Wednesday in Asoro. That was yesterday, where he was received by President Bola Tinubu in company with the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and the Chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede. Ibas, who bowed out as Rivers administration on September 17, after spending 6 months in the saddle, arrived at the State House at about 6 p.m. and was ushered into the meeting by Edun and Olukoyede. Wednesday's meeting comes 3 days after the SYSO administrator rejected calls by the Rivers State House of Assembly to probe spending during his 6-month watch. Edun had been cited arriving at the villa on Wednesday evening. However, he returned later carrying a file. So Ibas meeting with Tinubu and Olukoyede, I think he has questions to answer because the constituted state assembly just raised an alarm that they want to probe his 6-year tenure. 6 months, pardon me, please. 6 months tenure. They must have seen some loopholes. They must have seen some disturbing figures, and they are not comfortable. Don't forget that these people have been away for 6 months. Even before then, they had crisis. Their own income, I don't think, was consistent. And now that there seem to be peace, they want to also ensure and protect their own shore. If there's anything that should be their own lot, it must probably be given to them, as well as their coming back should also materialize to positive development. But maybe something they've seen will not give room for that in earnest. So they wanted to prove, and Ibas
I think kudos to the River State House of Assembly because for them to have raised this alarm, so I think it's a good thing that they have the people and their constituents at heart. So it's a very good one. That shows that they are working, they know what they are doing, they know they are onions, because that is part of the constitutional function duty of the legislator. So, and of course, I know that the presidency will not stop them from doing their duty.
I hope so.
For the 6-month reign of the retired general, so I think they need to put satellite on it because we know that whosoever that is being given such a power, we also want to do something to amass wealth.
An absolute power corrupt absolutely. And
the sole administrator.
We also need somebody to tell Ibas that wasn't a military administration. Being a sole administrator doesn't mean you have the power to do.
But why is it that they always been military administrators?
I'm afraid
I just look around.
That's crazy.
What happened in Plateau State? What happened in Ekiti State? What happened there?
Maybe because due to the heat.
In that, so
yes, they need somebody that can stabilize the state. But
that politician will not be able to handle that.
Maybe. So, and that doesn't mean former military personnel should go and eat deep into the pulse of the nation and not believing that they want to probe. Yes, they want to probe now. Is also
either military or retired ministry or not. That seat is the political seat.
Definitely.
So, and it's a seat that is also involved diplomacy and everything. So I think as State House of Assembly, you should also tread softly. but do the right thing according to the constitutional power given to you.
Mm.
And of course, then for other states, this will start as an example. It will start as an example to the all state assembly and the governor of each state to see that, oh, you need to work in conjunction with your governor and your people so that if you don't want something that have happened in River State to occur in your state. So I think give room for development, give room to unity and understanding in your various state. And of course, because at this point in time, we need rapid development because recently I've got some friends that have just visited China and they told me about one particular city, Guangdong, sorry, I may not pronounce it right. Well, is it Guangdong or Guangdong? I don't know. But they told me about this particular city that there's no day and there's no night. You can't do night, you can't do day because everybody is working. That even they said they don't have bike here. This motorbike that we call what do we call it? Okada. In part of this country, we call it Okada. So they're talking about bike. That we don't have it. That if you see the number of bikes that they have in that city, but you know what? You can't hear a single sound. That the roads are even soundproof.
Wow.
So that you can't hear any sound, and then we have thousands of Okada at the traffic waiting, but you can't hear any sound because they've moved from PMS or AGO engine. They move it into higher ones that I think with more noiseless because of
a lot of countries are seriously advanced.
So we should move our country because I remember the story someone was telling me, I read it myself, that there was a time in this part of this country, Nigeria, that that the king of Saudi Arabia and his wife and children came to UCH Ibadan for medical checkup.
That was when Nigeria was.
So what happened? We should go back. And there was a time in this country when France did not have a Nigerian television authority. They did not have TV, but the Western region already have is it WNTV in Ibadan. There was a time when European nations, the European nations that we celebrate, that we all japa into now, do not have street light. The old Benin Kingdom already have street lights. What happened? So we need to trace ourselves, we need to work things out. People in government, either in the past, including myself and people that are there, even some of us that are not in, people that are not in government and are in private sector, let's come together, let's work things out in our country, and let us make Nigeria a better place. Because it was there that those years, people coming, I remember that I do see why people coming into Nigeria, coming in, they want to visit Jos, but we have insecurity issue. How many people want to go to Jos now? How many people want to go to? Okay, I was checking because I was checking even in Osun State. What's the name of this waterfall? Ejiri waterfall. They were shouting, plastic have taken over Erin-Jeshari. I mean, that's Erin-Jeshari waterfall.
Yeah.
Plastic bottle, plastic waters and everything. And this ought to be form of our tourist attraction places for people to come in. You know, and when we can generate revenue in forex.
We don't have a good maintenance culture. We don't know how to sustain things. And this is where everybody needs to be up and doing. Yes, we are calling on the government. But nevertheless, when government puts in place a structure, is it not human beings that will manage it?
That's true.
That takes me back to what you said earlier during the good old days. Yes, I recall, and I've been told as well, that back then when Nigerians traveled to UK, Nigerian students studying abroad, they would go and open their stores that Nigerians have arrived because we used to be the money back. But now reverse is the case. Now are they even willing to give us visits? Now are they not wanting to send Nigerians back home? So everybody needs to have a routine. We need to sit up and ensure that we have a better Nigeria. Nigeria, despite all odds. It is
Look at where
achievable.
Nigerians are traveling to the Dubai, United Arab Emirates in Dubai. Doha, recently we saw social media people visiting Doha in what was the capital, Doha, that is Qatar.
Mm.
But you know that this country, even as at 91, they have only 2 skyscrapers. As at maybe 89, 2 skyscrapers, one to Dubai, one Toyota skyscraper building, and another one. Whereas in Lagos at that time, we already have close to maybe 20. We even have the tallest building in Oyo State in Ibadan. What's the name of that building? Cocoa House. Well, now nothing is coming up. Look, go to Dubai, you can't count the number of
The rates the rate at which some countries are advancing are growing. If we are going to meet up, I'm afraid it will take so long years. So we just have to wake up now, initiating the right move.
It's just a wake up call to Nigerians and entire Nigeria from us in Ifako Radio and to the government. We need to bounce back. We need to make it work in this country, Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria, in Africa entirely. So this is also a sad one. This is on security on Vanguard newspaper this afternoon. I saw 11,000 persons, 420 communities lost to Plateau violence. Fact-finding committees.
That's terrible. And that's a bad record.
Very, very bad. 11,000 persons and 420
That's much.
communities. The news, the chairman of Plateau State Fact-Finding Committee on Incessant Attack and Killing Major General Nicholas Rogers retired, has revealed that no fewer than 11,000 people lost their lives, at least 420 communities were destroyed in the state over the last 2 decades of violence. The disclosure was made in the committee report submitted last week to Governor Kele Mutfawad at the Government House Jos. The 10 members panel was inaugurated in May 2025 to investigate the root causes of the crisis that has plagued Plateau State since 2001. According to the finding, 13 local government areas have suffered repeated attacks within the period under review, with entire community sacked and thousands displaced. I think this is not a good record. This is a very bad record. It's not good for us. It's not good for Nigeria. It's not good for the world. I think our security apparatus still need to. We really appreciate your effort. We know that a lot of our security personnel have lost their lives and they have lost their family on the battle of insurgency in Nigeria. So I think they need to do more. They can still do more to protect our people, to protect lives, because this is not too good. 11,000 when it's not a fish, they are not fish. 11,000 people have lost their lives in 2 decades, 20 years.
There was no natural disaster. All these disasters are humanly orchestrated. And when the fact-finding committee had to find the root causes of all this, we already know why following ourselves. We only need to take action towards the right direction. We need security. Some people are agitating for state policing. If that would be the answer, let's work on it. Let's empower the security agencies as well, so that they can also match up with all these insurgents, because the rate at which the insurgents is taking over some parts of the nation.
So now what happened to our DSS? Because the DSS those days that I know, before anything, what happened to intelligence? We did that because before anything that happened, they need to have intelligence and give reports so that security agents will be at alert in such places. What happened? Is it that there's no more intelligence report? There's no more people that gives report? That there are no more whistleblowers? Or what do you think is happening?
These are questions meant for our leaders and the occupants of those offices. You ask for those offices and you've been given. And to whom much is given, much more is expected. It is now expected that you rise up to the situation of the nation, protect Nigerians from insurgents, bandits, and whatever is terrorizing the nation. We want to be able to go to bed with our 2 eyes closed. We want to be able to send our children to school with a rest of mind that they have
That
gone
they feel
and they will
kidnapping.
come back home peacefully. So our government should work on that, please. And on that note, we want to call it a day on newspaper review today. We want to draw the curtain here. It has been a wonderful session, knowing fully well that you listeners and viewers are outside there, and on all these analysis that the government will do the needful. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Ifako Radio, on Instagram, Ifako_radio, on YouTube, WhatsApp channel, X, formerly Twitter. Also, Ifako Radio. There's room for adverts placement and sponsorship. Just call us 091222274333. We are just a dial away. And you can as well send an email to us at ifakoradio@gmail.com. I am Olanurit Olusegun. We hope to be here tomorrow.
I'm Olani David. Enjoy the rest of it.